The Army Painter is my favorite hobby company in the entire world. My desk is literally full of Army Painter products, and it takes me from being an average painter to putting above tabletop standard models out into the tournament scene. Not only that, but the Army Painter has sponsored more competitive play than any other hobby company in the industry. They allow us to keep doing the things that we do. If you enjoy the Army Painter as much as I do, head over to thearmypainter.com where you can use the discount code ARTOFWAR5 to get a discount on your next order.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Warhammer Wednesday Dataslate edition! Woo!
Let's do it! We got a lot of exciting stuff coming out today. So many changes to the rules. We're going through the balanced Dataslate. We're going through the MFM. We're going through new data sheets that came out for Raveners and AdMech servitors. We've also got the Tournament Companion finally so that you can see the new map changes. Everything has changed. There's some faction FAQs that are particularly impactful as well. So we're going to be diving into all of that in this video. If you are joining us, definitely give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about us. All of that massively helps us grow. In addition, leave us a comment below letting us know what you're most excited about today for this data slate, what changes you're going to be playing on the tabletop very soon.
But don't think this is the only stream we're going to do for you today. We have a game coming on right after this at 10 a.m. Eastern Time featuring all these brand new exciting rules and
Tau CSM.
Tau versus CSM, me versus Siegs, me and Siegs Fiesta. And then we've also got more content in the Worm coming out for you every single day as well. We have different coaching games coming out today, tomorrow, and Friday, along with our usual slew of content. And now also a state of the faction for every single faction in the game, so you can know how to keep up with your army and the changes to the game and the meta overall and where you should be looking to build your lists.
Absolutely. Today's state of the faction is Space Marines. Coming out tomorrow is going to be Tau Empire, and there's going to be plenty more after that. In addition, two other things that happened. This morning, we released detachment reviews for the 3 brand new detachments, including that Chaos Space Marine 1, the Dark Angel's Wrath of the Rock, as well as the Subterranean Assault from Tyranids. All those are out on the channel as well. In addition, after the game, usually every Worm game has a post-game recap, and those are Worm exclusive. However, today, because the game between Nick and I was so exciting and fun, we went ahead and we're going to be releasing that post-game recap for you as well later today.
Literally a mountain of content for you to consume.
Just stay on this channel all day.
It's not stopping, folks. So if you want to get notified every single time we go live, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. I know we told you that, but it really helps us continue producing this content. As you can see, we keep trying to do better and better with it, and we can't do it without your support. If you want more, check out theworm.vhx.tv. It's in the link below. It's the description for your 3-day free trial of all of our beautiful Worm content.
Absolutely. We hope to see you there joining our community. All right, let's go ahead and start off here with the balanced data slate itself. So, starting off with no big core rules changes this time. Last time we had some important ones, which how to change stratagems and all that stuff, but they've kept all of those changes. Which
I like where the game is at. We're happy.
I like where the game's at. Doesn't need any radical changes here, but there are going to be several factions that received some significant updates. Starting off with the Adeptus Sororitas received.
Our faith has been restored in this army.
In more ways than one.
We've got amazing rules buffs and amazing points drops. This is a great balanced data slate for us. So we're back to every single time a unit of Sisters is destroyed, you get a Miracle Dice, not just at the start of the end of the turn or the end of the phase, which is, we get our Miracle Dice back, and that's very important.
But then there's a couple changes here to some of the combat units and Retributors.
That's right. So both Zephyrim get a nice buff, and this buffs your jump canvas as well. So it's a very subtle change. Basically, when your Zephyrim go for their sustained or lethal hits, you can discard a Miracle Dice to get both sustained and lethal. That now applies to all of your melee weapons, not just your Zephyrim Power Swords. That important distinction matters a lot to your jump canoness, who joins them with her Blessed Blade. So that's a great quality of life change. And then Zephyrim also are kind of cheap, and Seraphim come down, so I think there's a lot of value to a jump detachment here.
Absolutely. And then Retributor Squad gets a little bit of a change here, and then we'll look at the detachment in a second.
You know what I just caught now? You don't even have to discard a Miracle Dice to get both. Now you just make a charge move to get both. That's so good. It's even easier.
Way better.
But Retributors, as you were saying, their rule has been redone a little bit. So now each time the model unit makes a range attack, you reroll hits of 1 and still reroll wounds of 1. And if you target a unit that has destroyed one of your sister's units earlier in the battle, you can add 1 to the hit and add to the wound roll. And they stack. So your Retributors are likely going to be hitting on 3s rerolling 1s and wounding most vehicles on 4s rerolling 1s, which is a really great place to be.
Absolutely. It's one of the underutilized data sheets because it was just a little pricey for the inefficiency, but now you actually might see it in certain builds. And then finally, the Champions of Faith detachment got a further upgrade. I know this is one of your favorite detachments out there.
So I was running this before, and it was a little bit above average, I would say, and now I think it's going to be very strong. Because now we don't have to discard Miracle Dice to turn on the Righteous keyword for all of our units. At the start of your battle round or your command phase, you're just going to pick 3 different Sisters units and just give them a token. Now they're Righteous. This could be anything. This is so exciting that I'm dropping stuff. This could literally be anything, and it's free, and it's amazing, and it triggers all your rules for you, gives you the right keywords. It just happens. Your army works!
There's a huge theme here where a lot of important abilities were linked to Miracle Dice, and even though you get more previously thanks to the last balanced Dataslate, you're still not floating in them as much as you might want to be, and now with these abilities not forcing Miracle Dice, you just get the benefit, which is huge.
Yeah, I want to make a slight correction. The chat just caught it. On Retributors, it does say instead, so you would swap your reroll ones to hit and wound for +1 to hit and wound, which is technically better.
Yes, which is absolutely better.
Yeah.
All right, so those are some nice sister changes. We'll look at the points in a little bit, but they're going to be also extremely positive for sisters. They're going to be back in a pretty big way, I would say. All right, moving on to the Adeptus Mechanicus here. If you are super chatting, we will get to all the super chats at the end. We appreciate your support. Thank you so much, and we will answer all of those questions at the end of the stream. So, for AdMech, there's a couple important changes. First, to the data sheets. There were 2 data sheets that were left out that didn't have the army rule, which were the robots and their datasmith. They now have the rule, which ultimately means that Cybernetica, the detachment that gave them the rule, needs to change. And so what did it change to? Well, the robots, or your robot and your datasmith, get +2 to their movement characteristic if they're in Cybernetica, and in addition, if they're not battle shocked, they get +1 OC. +2-inch move. Mobility is a huge thing for robots because it's a data sheet that moves 6 inches. Not particularly good on a combat unit, but now they move 8 inches in the detachment, and you can use a strat to give them an additional 3-inch move and +1 to charge. So now your robots are actually pretty darn fast in the detachment. So that's a nice upgrade there. The +1 OC isn't going to matter as much, but overall, this is a nice change for Cybernetica, where you get to run robots in multiple detachments, and if you run them here, you get some extra benefits, which is cute. Halo Screed Battleclade Detachment. So this is a change to the enhancement that gave the army rule to robots in Halo Screed. Now it's cheaper, but it's going to simply give you the Halo override keyword. So now they can just advance and charge for 15 points whenever they want, or get additional move, or do other things. So very nice upgrade for Halo Screed. I think robots are probably going to be the most competitive in that specific detachment with this enhancement, but you can definitely still run them in Cybernetica. No other changes directly to AdMech here, but we'll see some points drops and a new data sheet later. Aeldari.
Oh, my poor elves. Did they take the Inari army and just take it up back? And then just shoot it once in the back of the head to make sure? They shot it 4 or 5 times in the back of the head and then twice in the gut. So now the rule, lethal intent, instead of being just you get to move at the end of your opponent's shooting phase if they killed something, now it's very conditional and it's limited. So you have to be within 6 inches of the unit that died, meaning I can't have like Rangers or Scorpions off in La La Land, have them get killed, and then something over here moves. On top of that, when that unit makes a move, it's only D6 plus 1 inches, not whatever it wants. So no more Falcon or Wave Serpent goes 20 inches in your opponent's turn, 20 more inches, drops the Fire Dragons, kills the Rogaldor, none of that. Now it's very tame, and if you roll low on that D6, which you cannot reroll or buff in any way,
can you not use the tokens on it?
You cannot use tokens on this. So you're really just, maneuvering here.
All right. And then infantry and mounted lock.
And that, yeah. So there was infantry and mounted. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was vehicles before. Yeah, they really, infantry and mounted. No more tanks at all. No.
You used to move a transport, drop the dudes out.
Oh, no, Incarn. It's sad. It's sad. But we're not done with that. There's still more debuffs for Yannari to cover. So Cat Lady. I actually really love Cat Lady. I think she's one of the strongest reasons to run Yannari, aside from the obvious reasons to run Yannari. She gives you reroll wounds in melee. But not anymore. Now she only lets your Aeldari units reroll 1s to wound in melee. And I tell you, when you are rolling like a gajillion strength 4 and 5 attacks, the difference between rerolling all wounds and rerolling 1s to wound is enormous. It's all of it. Like, most of your attacks just don't wound or get rerolled now. So, the Incubi brick, my Cat combo, Warlock Conclave brick with the Vizark, all that's kind of pointless. And then we also took some points hits. We got some points buffs, but none of it done us favors.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get to those points in just a second. Then going on to the Astra Militarum, there is one key change here, which is that Lord Solar Leontis has the ability to, once again, order Titanic units, which means for those people out there who really love running the big Titanic tanks for a guard, you can still bring Leontis, and he has a unique order purpose. Otherwise, nothing else can order them. This is a pretty nice change overall for that set of the guard players who really want to run big tanks and do stuff with them.
Yeah.
Black Templars don't change much, but Blood Angels do receive a change here, which is going to be the Black Rage ability. This is for the Death Company detachment. So in that detachment, it used to be that you always had to be near a chaplain in order to get the OC and the various buffs that you want. But in this one, they've changed the Black Rage ability so that you have to be within 6 inches of one or more friendly Blood Angel character models, or 12 of a friendly chaplain, which means that if Dante or any of the typical characters you're going to see that aren't chaplains, you actually get a benefit if they're nearby, which makes this detachment a heck of a lot more playable. I know some people were like, when we did top worst detachments, did this deserve to be in there? And we were like, actually it has some pretty good rules. It's niche, but it has some pretty good rules overall. I think we actually might start seeing some players busted out now.
Yeah, especially when we get to the Minotaur Field Manual, you're going to see your Blood Angel units get a nice points decrease, which definitely opens up viability for these cool units like Death Company.
Absolutely. Chaos Knights, unchanged here, and then Demons, I don't believe they were...
I think they got changed this time.
It's just one change. One change.
The Scintillating Legion! The Scintillating Legion has a 2 CP strat, which God knows why that was 2 CP. Now it costs 1. Good job. Good job. We can buff our strength.
Do you know what... it's the strength buff?
Yeah, so it's plus 2 strength and plus 1 AP, I believe, which is actually a good buff. But for 2 CP, it sure wasn't.
It's something you want to use every time,
Yeah.
but 2 CP means you can't,
Yeah.
or you don't want to.
Yeah, and then 2 CP basically meant you never use it.
All right. Chaos Space Marines, they got some interesting love here, not just in that new detachment that they received, but a couple data sheets that needed a little bit of love got significant love here.
I love the direction they've gone with this, because I think it'd be very easy to just look at the 30 possessed bile units and nerf the possessed a little bit and move on. But they actually took a step further, looked at the stuff that nobody's taking at all, and they actually buffed it, which I love. So the Heretic Astartes D imprints falls in line with the new versions of the Foot D imprints and now gets the lone operative ability within 3 inches of infantry. I don't know that this is enough to warrant taking him even in the new detachment, but it is a great quality of life upgrade. And then, speaking of quality of life upgrades, we've got the Lord Discordant. Talk about a man with a glow-up seat.
I have not seen this guy in a long time.
You're going to see 3 of these hit the table, coming to you fast and furious style. So, what happened to this guy? Well, he got a movement buff. He went from move 12 to move 14. That's nice. He got an invul save buff, which takes him from the 5-up invul to a 4-up invul. That's pretty good. His Corrupt Machines ability also changed. So now at the start of the shooting phase, select 1 visible enemy unit within 12 inches of this model and roll d6. On a 2 or 3, it suffers d3 mortal wounds. On a 4 or 5, it suffers 3 mortal wounds. On a 6, it suffers d3 plus 3 mortal wounds. And if you have more than one of these Disco Lords, maybe 3, you can just use all 3. I'm going to kill your Riptide without even attacking it, Richard. I'm just going to corrupt it.
My Riptide is a vehicle. Hopefully it's not within 12 of the Disco Lord, though.
I move 14 now, it will be.
And there's...
We're not even done.
There's more. There's more.
There is a lot more. So then we've got the Spirit Thief ability, which is slightly better now. It allows you to select 1 enemy unit that is visible to it, 1 enemy vehicle that is visible to it in the shooting phase, and your army is going to get reroll 1s to wound against it. And as if that's not enough, we needed to glow up his combat a little bit more too. So now his Impaler Chainglaive, which kind of sucked before, is now up to 5 attacks from 4, up to strength 8 from strength 6. It's also Lance. It's up from AP 2 to now AP 3. And it's up from damage 2 to damage 3. Every single stat that could be improved is better now.
This was reminiscent of when the Grey Knights, Dread Knights got their weapons upgraded, except they went even further here. It's not just the weapons and the stats, but it's also its datasheet rules. Everything is better about this. And I believe it didn't go down. It didn't
not go up in cost.
It didn't go up.
Still 160, move 14, 2 of armor, 4 up invul, does lots of random mortal wounds, kills the enemy vehicles by standing near them, and slams you in melee. What is not to love about this guy?
It'll be cool, because I think this is one of the most interesting and unique Chaos models, so I'm excited to see it on the table.
Me too. But another really amazing Chaos model, which also got a glow up, is the man, the myth, the legend, Vashtor. who-
He's not a legend.
he might. He's not.
He's a myth because I've never seen him, but
We have used him on the stream, I believe, 2 times, and he's not done a goddamn thing either. But he's back, and he's Adam, and he is going to do the work. So he also becomes a lone operative if he's within 3 inches of a Chaos Space Marine vehicle, which is great.
Demon vehicle.
Demon vehicle. So, the Soul Forged idea. And then he's got the Reordered Reality ability, which now means that anytime an enemy unit is within 18 inches and targets this model with a ranged attack, it's going to be just -1 to hit. And until the end of the phase, all of its ranged weapons are hazardous. Not even just the ones you shoot at Vashtor. So if someone fires a las cannon at Vashtor and 10 other guys shoot somewhere else, all of them are -1 to hit. All of them are hazardous. It's pretty great.
I don't like that at all because I'm really professional at failing hazardous checks.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
All right. And then he got some other things.
God, there's more.
Yes, he also got multiple changes.
Unholy Mechanisms ability, which was a +1 strength aura for your Demon Engine vehicles within 6 inches. Well, how about if it's +2 strength?
Gotta make it. That's significant. There's a lot of breakpoints that it now interacts with.
Strength 12 Forge Fiends, Strength 8 Forge Fiends with the Chain Cannon is actually viable. It's pretty interesting. And then we've got this sweep profile on his he's got 2 melee attacks with his hammer. The regular strike profile is now up to AP3, which is nice because AP2 kind of sucks. And then his sweep profile gained devastating wounds, and it's also anti-vehicle 4+, so you can really do a lot of poking ancillary damage there, especially because it's up to 12 attacks. It's now AP1 instead of AP0, and it's a 2 damage sweep. So on average, you're one-shotting a vehicle with this sweep profile, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, he is vastly improved. I also don't believe he went up in points either. Yeah, so
we have new data sheets functionally. These were not data sheets that you could actually take competitively, and now they're here.
I've personally been a huge proponent of encouraging Games Workshop to go back and look at data sheets that aren't seen, and instead of reducing their points and just making them cheaper, but they don't do very much, just make them better. And they've done that here, which I think is a fantastic thing, and I think other things in the game could definitely use this. Love.
Same.
All right, Dark Angels, they get their brand new detachment, Wrath of the Rock, but in addition, Mr. Lionel Johnson receives completely new rules, basically all over his data sheet as well. So what changes? Well, first of all, his ability, All Secrets Revealed, is changed to Mist-Wreathed Shadow Realms, which allows him in your command phase, if he's not within engage range of any enemy units, to be removed from the battlefield and then placed into Strat Reserve, and then he can come back in via Deep Strike. It lets him get a little bit more mobile, which is interesting. And then his aura abilities, his other aura abilities also change. So first of all, his Martial Exemplar ability becomes reroll 1s to hit, reroll 1s to wound. So now he has an actual fundamental army buff for if he's nearby a bunch of other things like Deathwing Knights or Inner Circle Companions. It means stuff near him isn't really as oath reliant. And then Emperor's Shield changes to each time an attack is allocated to this model, if the strength characteristic of that attack is greater than the toughness characteristic, -1 to wound. So it's a different type of defensive buff than he previously had, but one that is quite effective into traditional weapons.
John and I played a game that's going to come out later
out
this week where John's trying out the brand new line into my new sisters. It's going to be really exciting. You don't want to miss that. Check out the War Room in the link below.
Absolutely. So exciting changes here because the line was on the outskirts of Dark Angel's units taken, and this refresh might bring him to the forefront.
You could. Definitely could.
All right, so no other changes there. Now, Drukhari gets a change here, which I am a huge fan of personally. Reaper's Wager was their new Grotmus detachment, and in that detachment, you basically had competing Harlequins and Drukhari units trying to get the buff of reroll 1s to hit, 1s to wound. But if, for instance, you're a Drukhari purist like myself, or like Skari, or some others, you didn't take any of the Harlequins, and so you just wouldn't get you wouldn't get the detachment rule. You get 6 very good stratagems and some enhancements, but you really wouldn't get the detachment rule. Now they've changed it so that if you just bring Drukhari units or whatnot, basically the wording is that if the model's unit is winning the wager, so and Drukhari units start as winning, you get reroll 1s to hit. That's a great rule. You just your detachment rule is now for your Drukhari units to get reroll 1s to hit all the time. Doesn't matter about the second half. If you don't run any Harlequins, you're never getting the reroll 1s to wound, which is totally fine. So this is a really nice upgrade to Reaper's Wager, and I plan to run that detachment for sure in the future.
I'm excited about that. Genestealer Cult got one very tiny change. Can you even spot it, Seeks?
Yes, it's the resurgence points for Adelant Jackals and Purestine Genestealers. They are 2 resurgence points each.
And that's really great. Very subtle, but very nice, because the breakpoints on the math become pretty terrible when you start working 3 resurgence points. 2 resurgence points really lets you just like spam 5 little cheap units or like 3 little cheap units in 1 larger squad.
Yeah, it's funny because you and a lot of GSC players predominantly used Purestine Genestealers as some of those resurgence points, and I expect that to continue. They're just a great unit to bring back in like late game. You're like, bam, action unit, bam, screen, done. All right, so a little bit of change for GSC there. None of their other detachments received anything. Then we head on to Grey Knights. Now, Grey Knights received a change in the previous update whereby Purgation Squads, which had access to indirect fire, couldn't benefit from the rerolls from Warpbane, which is a fine change. I didn't think it was that oppressive, but certainly certain armies didn't like that, and that's totally fine. And they changed it so that you had to be visible. However, it meant that if you were attacking through a wall, if Mr. Nick was hiding his Aeldari units behind a wall and I was within an inch and could swing into him, I couldn't get the rerolls because he wasn't visible. So they've changed that here and made a quality of life change whereby it's either a ranged attack has to be visible or you're just making a melee attack, which is very nice. Quality of life, a good job at Games Workshop for spotting that one. Imperial Knights, nothing there, nothing for Imperial Agents. Leagues of Votann receive another quality of life change, which I'm personally a huge fan of. Votann is one of those factions where their characters come with these dinky little robots called Corvs and Ecogs, and those things took up space in transports, which meant, Nick, if you took any of these characters and wanted to lead something that went in a transport, you couldn't fit. Now the Ecogs and the Corv models count as 0 models for capacity inside a transport, which is massive quality of life. I'm surprised it took this long for this to finally make it, but I certainly have been like, please make this change. So I'm glad Games Workshop did. That's a very, very nice quality of life change for the Votann.
Nice. I'm glad to see that.
Necrons, no fundamental changes here. Orks, we're going to see in the points update, but there is one for their Cult of Speed detachment, a detachment I have never seen on the table. It is one that allows you to advance and shoot, and now you can also advance and charge for Speed Freak models, which is those buggies and...
Can we just talk about something? How crazy is it that they can just add the line, your army advances and charges to a detachment roll? And it's still not that great. It's still not that great. I mean,
the data sheets matter a lot. Data sheets matter.
And fundamentally, Speed Freaks is like taking the bikes and the trucks and the buggies and like stringing together an army out of that. And all those are like kind of bad data sheets, and they're enormous profile models. Like they are big boys, which makes them very hard to hide. You're not really able to hide. They have to go around terrain. There's a lot of things going against them. Maybe this is enough because advance and charge is that good, and fall back and shoot, fall back and charge is also that good. It's like Stormlance, but for orcs. But I'd be surprised if this started making splashes like that.
And then for the Tank Buster, Breaker Boys, Commandos, all the things that have the Squig Bomb, they've basically made them uniform, because they were written in all sorts of different ways before. Once per battle for each bomb squig this unit has, they put the additional rule in there with the timing and the visibility qualifier. So very nice, making it consistent, which is important. Then we head over to Space Marines here, which I don't believe received
you saw one. Marty's Calgar.
Besides Calgar. So Ultramarines, they have been the dominant force for Space Marines. Who could have seen it? Double Oath, +1 to wound. Strats everywhere. It's been the best version of Space Marines for the last several months. So I personally was very offended by the amount of command points that they could spend, and Games Workshop took direct issue with that here. So now if you are running Marty's Calgar, he has to be the Warlord, which means if you're running Guilliman, he's not the Warlord, to get that additional guaranteed CP. So you can still do reducing free strats with Guilliman himself, but Calgar isn't going to give you guaranteed 1 CP in your command phase if he's not the Warlord. So if you double them up, it's not as potent as it was previously, which I think is a perfectly reasonable change. And he goes down a bit in points, as we'll see. Heading over to Supreme Strategist, which is Guilliman. This is his rule to reduce stratagem cost. Instead of once per turn, which I thought was egregious, it's once per battle round, which is perfectly normal. We're going to see a change to the Hive Tyrant to match this as well.
And then we've got the Tau
Empire.
Oh, see.
Everybody for the Tau Empire has been clamoring for changes. What are we going to get? What changes are going to happen?
Got a brand new army rule. Look at this, Sea of Red.
They have completely changed the army rule in quite impactful ways. So we're going to see that later in the game today between Tau and CSM. So let's go ahead and look at it. Now, for the greater good was the army rule that meant if you wanted to, you had to observer and you had a guided unit. So you picked an enemy unit, you had your observer look at it, and then one of your units would look at that and get a benefit. Now they've changed that. It happens at the start of your shooting phase now instead of mid-turn, which is pretty impactful. Still need visibility, but what happens? Well, when you go ahead and guide that unit, let's say stealth suits, you're going to give the benefit of ignores cover since you have Markalite. You're going to give your benefit of reroll 1s to hit, 1s to wound, and your whole army, anything that targets that unit will benefit. So it means that instead of spending, I don't know, 500, 600, 700 points on guiding units, you could probably spend a bit less so that you don't have as many, because your army doesn't need as many of them. If I'm trying to focus down 3 things, I just need 3 guiding units. So it's a nice change there. And I think this is going to be quite impactful because, as I said, Tau is very hard to find the balance between guiding units and damage units, and this makes that balance a lot easier. There's some points increases that we'll get to for stealth suits specifically, but they have the best buff, so it's not too surprising there. It does keep some of these other qualifiers, like you can't be battle shocked to guide, which is annoying for Tau, and you can't do it with fortifications, but this is a very good change overall for the Tau Empire. And then we head on into Kalyan and Monka, which had an enhancement that allowed them to get a guiding benefit. So and then Kalyan's detachment rule changes. So their detachment used to be sustained 2, battle round 3 onward. It is now only sustained 1, and the second half of that is going to be you ignore hit and ballistic skill modifiers, which certainly isn't as good as sustained 2 all the time. But because of the easier guiding bonus, I guess Games Workshop thought it would be too oppressive if they had sus 2 and it was much easier to guide. So ignore mods can be very impactful. Like against Admech, when they have stealth everywhere, you need this. Yeah. This is really impactful. So it's going to be matchup dependent. And then through Unity Devastation, this is the, if you guide a unit with this character who has the enhancement, everything that shoots at it gets lethal hits as well. It's going to be 40 points, so it's quite pricey. The flip side is the Monka one, which gives you sustained. It's also going to be 40 points, but it's your whole army. So it can be very effective against like a big knight or something like that. Very expensive thing. Okay, data sheets change as well, because of course the army rule has changed and a lot of things interacted with it. The Firesight team, if you don't realize what this is a character with 3 sniper drone shots. His rule changed to each time the model makes an attack, you, against the spotted unit, get full rerolls to hit. This really should have just been a different guiding bonus because you're never running him for his guns. Then the Pathfinder team, instead of double guiding, because you don't need to do that anymore, instead, if they're shooting at the thing that they are spotting, they get the +1 ballistic skill and the ignores cover. So it's a better shooting unit than it was previously. And then stealth battle suits, it's just you get the reroll 1s to hit, 1s to wound for everything that makes attack against that target. So very much better than one thing, of course. Thousand Suns, no changes here. Tyranids.
Tyranids got a lot of love. Points love, new datasheet love, new detachment love, and some updates to their existing datasheets.
Yep. That Hive Tyrant, he gets the same change as Gilliman, where it's not reducing CP cost per turn, it's per battle round. And then the Psychophage gets basically rewritten a bit again. He moves 12 inches now, and then he received the Biostimulus ability. In your shooting phase, after the model is shot, select an enemy unit hit by one or more of the attacks. Until the end of the turn, each time a friendly Tyranid unit makes a melee attack, so not ranged, that targets that enemy unit, they get +1 AP, and you can't stack this on multiple times. And also he gets the smoke keyword because he literally has smoke coming out of his back.
And his melee is also stronger now. He's up to 6 attacks, and he's AP2 instead of AP1 on his Talons and Benticled Maw. Overall, I think the Tyrant changes you're going to see are really impactful. I mean, the Tyrant CP reroll or CP bonus only being once per battle, not once per turn, is okay, but it's in line with the rest of the game.
And he goes down in points.
And the Psychophage is really interesting. I mean, it's one of those monsters you never see. I think you might actually start to see this thing now, especially in Assimilation's form.
Yeah, previously he was just a cheap 6 of Fiona Pain aura.
Yeah.
Now he can do a little bit more than previously. And +1 AP in melee is very impactful. There's a lot of AP1, AP2 melee that's going to get a lot more powerful.
No one's complaining about that.
All right, so that's the balanced data slate here. Overall, I'm pretty positive about it. I love the changes to the data sheets that I'm seeing out here.
I love that they're genuinely making the crappy units you never see better without just like completely nerfing the top and just letting the bottom suck.
Yeah, absolutely. It was not just a focus on things that are always seen in the meta.
Except Ynnari.
They deserved it. They earned it. It's always that Aeldari army.
It's okay. There's still ways to play elves, folks. Don't worry.
Yeah, the Tau army change is going to make it significantly easier for less experienced Tau players to play, because that was one of the hardest things about Tau, was deciding where all your guiding things would go and sequencing it in the proper order. Now it's 1,000 times easier, so Tau is going to be a lot more accessible as an army.
Can we talk about Disco Lords and Vashtor? Can we talk about how they're the greatest things in sliced bread?
I'm excited to see him put
I'm excited.
What detachment do you think they're better? Renegade Raiders?
I like them in Renegade Raiders. Vashtor really likes Soulforge. I could even see the Disco Lords in good old-fashioned Packbound.
I think you're going to be doing a Soulforge list really soon, too, coming out, right?
That's the idea. I had a list breakdown for Soulforge right before this balance patch, and I think it only got better in this update, so we might have to see.
MFM time. We've referenced some of the points already. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Sisters.
Look at these beautiful girls in green.
That's green.
All that green. Look at Forest over here. Castigator down 10, back to 160. Immolator down 10, back to 115. That's the right price point for that tank. Junit down 10, down to 80. That's nice. Quality of life for her. Paragon Warsuits down 10. I still think they're pricey, but Volgons are Volgons. Reventia down 10 for a 5-girl squad and down 10 for a 10-girl squad, which is just, nice for those Penitent Host players. Retributors down 10 to 115, and they got a nice little new rule on their datasheet ability, which makes them very attractive. Seraphim down 5 and down 10 respectively, so 5-girl is just 80, a 10-girl is 160. This is amazing because I love Seraphim and they were overcosted before, and the 10-man not being scaled higher as a nice buff to Bringers of Flame where you actually want to take those 10-girl squads.
Yep.
And then Triumph down to 235. Still very pricey, but she is the Triumph.
She is the Triumph. She's durable, got high OC, good buffs, and she's annoying.
So what I think is the most fascinating thing here is that we look at the old Bringers list that was dominating people, and we look at what normal Meta Sisters lists are made of, and it's like triple Castigators, Volgons, and like 2 or 3 Immolators. Every single one of those went down 10 points. Your list just gets like roughly 90 points back just for playing Sisters.
Yep. The bog standard, I run the good stuff in this army. You just have a whole extra unit. You just get a free Seraphim unit, basically. Yeah,
which is super, super great for convenience. Because Sisters were like, if they took all your power units, you didn't quite have enough stuff. Now I think you do get enough stuff again.
Hollowed Martyrs loves the Junith change because the extra CP is so valuable in that detachment.
Sisters changes, hallelujah.
I think they're going to finally be back in the meta.
My faith was rewarded, Siege.
Yeah. Are you going to be a champion of faith?
I am the Champion of Faith. But I don't know. I'm excited for Hallowed Martyrs. I'm excited for Champion of Faith. I think Army of Faith actually has a weird play. And Bringers of Flame hasn't gone anywhere, actually, even with the nerfs.
Nice. Heading over to the Adeptus Custodes, they receive some decreases for the Alaris Custodians here. So if you were playing Lions of the Emperor, you typically saw some amount of Alaris Custodians. And Shield Host, you were seeing some of them, maybe like one big squad. However, they all go down. So for the 2 models, it goes down 10, 3 models 15, 5 models 25, and 6 models 30 points. This is certainly a unit that wasn't spammed before. It has a very niche anti-infantry, anti-horde type role that isn't seen as much in the meta. But overall, I think Lions of the Emperor appreciates this the most out of any of the detachments, and their ability to go back into reserve is fantastic. And splitting them up, splitting a 2-man into 2 solo mans, you used to get extra units.
And the Terminator Captain joined the Terminators. Man, that slams.
The Terminator Captain, yeah, absolutely. The Alaris Terminator Captain. So that's the only change here. No increases. I think Custodes players will be happy. Their Dreadnoughts and their tanks aren't going up. Gladius stays the same as it has been. And no increases for Wardens or kind of their stalwart units. So Custodes are going to be sitting pretty in the meta. They're already just a good army.
I won Worlds, don't forget.
Codex Adeptus Mechanicus. So we had some changes to Cybernetica and the robots. No increases for them, which is important because I didn't think they needed any, but there's some decreases here. So Iron Strider Ballistari go back down a little bit for 70 points per model, so 5 points discount. The Scorpius Disintegrator, my favorite tank in AdMech, goes down 10 points, which means that every good AdMech list goes down 30 points minimum, and I think that's a huge quality of life change because it means that most AdMech lists that were running Protector style are going to get some benefit out of this. And for a lot of my AdMech lists, I was in that weird case where like 20, 30 extra points really does mean I get to upgrade to a serious better unit. Sidonian Dragoons, a unit that I love personally, that got an increase and kind of has stayed at that increase, finally goes down. I think they're going to be a lot more playable in this meta.
You're going to see a lot of these things.
Yep, so 65 points per model. One of their big weaknesses was that the Lord of Discord ability, the Vect ability of increasing stratagem cost, was very popular when it first came out, and it's become less and less popular, less and less essential. That really helps Dragoons a lot, in my opinion. And then the tasty transoracular dyad wafers for those robots, they go down 15 points because it just gives the Halo Override keyword instead of the army rule as well, which is perfectly reasonable. Really good changes here. Fundamental damage dealing units have gone down. I think seeing more of this. I would love to see the Cataphront Breacher 3-man go down, but you can't be mad about key units going down.
No, all these tanks coming down is not what I like to see. I'm spamming tanks. Hate that.
Don't be so rude to me, Nick.
I do not like the chicken walkers.
You love them.
They're mean to me.
All right, Aeldari, some other changes here.
So it wasn't all bad. I think we all expected some bad, but we actually got some good here too. The Autarch went up 10, which makes me sad because I love my Autarchs, but I think it's fair. The guy was just like actually too good for 75. 85 is a little steep, but you're still probably going to run at least one of these things. What's nice also is Shining Spears have come down. Only 110 for 3 and 220 for 6. Which is the right direction, perhaps not enough, but maybe in detachments like Windrider Host or Aspect Host where they get direct buffs, it can actually be enough to make me want to take Shining Spears. I think I will explore them a little bit more. Warwalkers coming down, 10 points per model is really nice. They were definitely in the overcosted camp. At 85, I think it's a much more like reasonable cost. I'd love to see these things come down a little bit more, 80, 75, but 85 is definitely playable, especially, again, in detachments like Windrider Host or even the Guardian detachment where you are actively seeking the +1 AP that the Warwalker can provide you because your weapons are like AP 0 or AP 1.
Yeah.
The Warlock Conclave.
Oh, why did you do this, Nick? This is you.
I'm sorry, Eldar fans. I don't think it was just me. I will say Liam VSL was also running the Conclave and Harlequins, but
both of you.
The cat combo, they really saw the cat combo. They were like, this is far too powerful. So 20 points up on the Warlock Conclave and the Riv Rain nerf. It's all dead. The cats are not coming home, and we are super sad about this. Dragons went up. I mean, who didn't see that coming?
They're still really good.
Like 5 mana 120, still a playable number. I mean, it's overcosted for the 1 wound T3 elf body, but it's not overcosted for my 5 dragons killed your land raider. You know, that's the job they're doing. And then the 10 man didn't go up at all, which is not something you typically ever see. But a 10 man in a Wave Serpent and an Aspect Host or War Host where they can fire and fade is actually quite solid. Mm-hmm. Fire Person coming down might give us a little bit of a different way to approach Eldar with some anti-tank options. 150 is still very steep for 2 shots, but they are 2 very good shots, so that helps. Banshees took a slap on the wrist points, increased 5 points for a 5, 10 points for a 10. That's totally fine. No complaints there.
All right, and then Ynnari specifically.
Man, because again, the 4 bullets we've already taken to the back of the head were not enough. We need 2 to the gut to make sure. Incarn up 10. The Ynnari Archon, who I've never seen in my life. This guy goes up 10. And then the Ynnari Incubi also go up because it wasn't enough to just nerf the Gat combo. You have to nerf the Incubi brick to make sure you send the message.
And they sent that message.
I heard
loud
the message.
And clear.
Ynnari is not a faction. I got it. I'm sorry. I'll play a different type of Eldar now. It's okay.
You better open those ears up, Nick.
Oh.
All right. Did you want to say anything else about Aeldari?
I still think they're good, and I'm doing a group coaching on Aeldari in the next 2 weeks. So you can sign up right now. You can go to theartofwar40k.com to purchase your ticket. There's a limited number of seats available. It is going to sell out. And we're going to cover all the different ways you can explore and adapt your army with this new balanced Dataslate. No Ynnari here. And, of course, we're going to break down the different playstyle, strategies, and tactics for Aeldari and where you go. So if you're an Eldar player, or if you're interested in picking up that Eldar army, or if you're interested in playing against them, this class has value for you. Check it out on theartofwar40k.com.
Yeah, Ghost of the Webway, Seer Council, a lot of tricky things coming out.
I just took Ghost of the Webway to DreamHack, went undefeated with them, Siegs.
Smashing people, too.
Smashing people.
All right, Codex Astra Militarum here. Decreases to Bogren. Bogren are a unit that has completely fallen out. It's one of the few combat units Guard has access to, so it's nice to see those come back down a little bit, although hopefully not too much. I don't think this is too much, though. And then the Deathcore Krieg, we were seeing a lot of armies run 2 20-man units, so they've gone up 15 points. It's just a very good unit that can heal back models, so if you can't finish them off, they're going to heal back. You can give them extra OC. They're really good with orders. Death Riders here. This is the unit that has the reactive move, and having a cheap 5 model, 60-point reactive moving unit is pretty darn solid. I think there's more reason to think about running them than previously.
John loves his ponies.
He loves his ponies, but he loves the Rough Riders. They do damage. Death Riders are about tricks. And then the Leman Russ Battle Tank, the Battle Cannon version, has gone up 10 points. It is the one that is seen the most, so not too surprising that it goes up. Usually you see 2 in many lists.
It's real good.
The Taurox goes up 10 as well. It was like silly under cost at 65 at 75. Now it's competing with the Chimera, so there's some actual competition between the two transports nowadays. The Prime version doesn't go up because it really isn't seen as much. You're just trying to get a cheap box to put dudes in. Tempestus Accolons, they've still been suffering from the change from 3-inch Deep Strike to 6, and so they've gone down 10 more points, which I think is perfectly reasonable. And then Ursula Creed, who helps with the free stratagems, has gone up 20 points. She was very, very cheap, and now at 85 points, you'll probably still see her, but maybe not an auto take every single time in all the lists. Now, the interesting thing you don't see here that I'm shocked by is the Rogaldorn Tank Commander, the single best tank that Guard has access to. That's in every single list.
Sometimes 2, or even 3.
Sometimes 2, sometimes 3. It stays the same, not even 10 points up. Very surprising. I think Guard make out like bandits here, even though you see red on this. Also, Kasrkin not getting a little bit of increase. I think Guard players, yes, you got some nerfs here, but some of the best units don't go up, so I think you're going to be perfectly happy with this change. And then heading on to Black Templars. So Black Templars, Olivier Weiss basically nerfed Black Templars himself last summer, and they've undone most of those nerfs here. So the characters like Grimaldus and Helbricht go back down in points, and then those Primaris Crusaders come back down a little bit. I don't think fully, but still a little bit down.
Does this mean that 100 model Black Templar Horde is back on the menu?
I don't think so, because I think they were like 270 or something like that. They went up like 40 points, so they're back down a little bit. But I don't. You could maybe still run them, but I don't think that's going to be top tier competitive. Right. And then Primaris Sword Brethren get a nice decrease here. So if you're running the Gladius version of Black Templars that Jack prefers, you'll get some extra points here, quite a bit between the characters and the Sword Brethren going down.
That's pretty solid. Sword Brethren coming down is real good for them.
So pretty nice changes for the Black Templars. Blood Angels here.
What did Jack do? Like, how did this happen?
Somebody paid off somebody. And it was Jack was doing the paying. We know that for sure.
Maybe Jack Harpster.
Jack Harpster, how did you get these Blood Angels changes? Now, Blood Angels are the second most popular Space Marine chapter in terms of like placings. You see a lot of Ultramarines and then a lot of Blood Angels. And Jack finished third at LVO, mind you. So they got an amazing new detachment Inheritors, and let's see what goes down. So Astrath, he goes down to 95 points. He really wasn't seen, but he was on the cusp. I think that's a perfectly reasonable change. The Ball Predator goes down 10 points, 125. They were seen. I think it's perfectly fine for them to go to 125. Chief Librarian Mephiston, he received an increase, I think 2 updates ago, and he went to 135. He's back down to 120. He really suffers from being damage D3, which is super inconsistent, so I think this is actually okay. Commander Dante was an auto take in pretty much every list. He goes down 10 points.
He's so good. He's an absurd character, and the fact that he's going down makes me so angry.
He's amazing. The model looks amazing. I painted it on the Art of War, so if you like watching our streams, compliment me. And then Death Company Dreadnought goes down 20 points. You never see that. That's perfectly reasonable. Now, Death Company with jump packs, they go down 10 for 5 and 10 for 10-man unit. So the 10-man unit doesn't go down 20 points. I think that's a semblance of reasonable right there. But they are a pretty good data sheet overall. Lamardes, the guy you would see in the 10-man, goes down 10 points. So really nice decrease. If you think back to the balanced data slate, the Death Company detachment got a really nice change, so you're definitely going to see them there. Sanguinary Guard down 20 points for 3.
They were already good. Olivier just ran a full unit. Jack ran 3 squads at LVO. Like, what is... Okay, any one of these changes I can, live with. Fine,
hold on.
Just can get cheaper. Fine. You're not even done yet.
Hold on.
Sorry.
I'm just going to spoil one of the Space Marine changes with the Jump Captain, who you put in the 3-man Sanguinary Guard when you can't run more Dantes. He also goes down 10. All right. Now you can continue.
You can't just make every unit 10 points cheaper. Like, if one unit is on the cusp and you make it cheaper, sure, whatever. You might see it more. If every unit is on the cusp and you make them all cheaper, guess what? This army just gained 200 points. It's a Space Marine army. You know what? Let's nerf Guilliman and Calgar so we can make Blood Angels overpowered. What is going on?
So I think all of these, like Nick said, in a vacuum are perfectly fine. Together, I think they're too much, very clearly, because obviously the third place winning list the third place listed LVO gains about 100 points or so. That's probably too much. I would say probably too much. Sanguinary Guard, I could have seen 10 points. 20 points, I think, is a little too much. When I look at 10 Cabalite Warriors being 10 less points than 3 Sanguinary Guard, I have to say, what is going on here?
That's a good point, Steve.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Look at my 10 Storm Guardians.
I have to write the Drukhari list here, and my list went down like 15, 20 points. And when I see a Blood Angels list that's stronger and performing better in the meta go down 100 points, I have to say, what is going on?
Let's just talk.
If you're a Blood Angels fan, this is going to be the best time to play Blood Angels, period.
I mean, the Shining Spears is a decent unit. They're 110 for 3 models, and then the Sanguinary Guard is just strictly better in every single way. Why? Why did they do that? Why did they do that to me? To me personally.
Oh, Daniel, you're totally right. It is the black. I said the Black Rage ability. I keep saying the detachment, but like the detachment is where you're taking a lot of Death Company, which is where it's going to benefit. But yeah, the Black Rage ability for Death Company as a whole is the one that changed to just be near a Blood Angel character.
Out of all the changes so far, this is the one I am least excited for. The blanket 200 point buff that Blood Angels got. Maybe I'm wrong, and this is going to be fine.
This is just purely looking at stats, because as Here's Horus mentions, Blood Angels are sitting at like 45-46% win rate, which it just boggles my mind. The army is good. Well, it has 2 very good detachments.
It's one of the most popular versions of Space Marines, and there's all kinds of people who are like, I don't play that often, but I will play Space Marines today. I'm going to play Blood Angels today. I got a Blood Angel army in the closet. And then they go to their RTT, and they get demolished because they don't play 40k that much, but they do affect the win rates the same as everybody else.
Yep. I think GT level plus players are going to have a field day with Blood Angels.
That's going to be monsters. Who's going to play against Jack? You.
I'll play against anybody. I just play games, man.
That's right.
Chaos Demons. All right. One change here, which is that they are changing the model size of the Nurgling unit. You used to be able to run 9 model units, which was just out of nowhere.
Gone.
Yes, so now it's only 3 and 6, but I believe they've updated the index to have the new data sheet from Death Guard, where they have a 5-up invuln versus a 6-up.
Oh,
I believe that's the change.
I hope that's true. I haven't checked that yet. But they get slight points nerf, 5 points for 3 Nurglings, 10 points for 6 Nurglings. Honestly, 40 and 70 I think is perfectly reasonable. They keep getting cheaper for absolutely no reason. But the fact that you can't run 9-mans is also really nice, because the theoretical 54 Nurgling list in Shadow Legion stupid, and now it doesn't exist. That's better.
They're one of the data sheets where the 0 OC change has made Games Workshop reconsider them every single time where they should fit.
The fact that they have no OC really does make them kind of useless, but infiltrating unit with a lot of wounds is not bad.
There are bodies that are annoying. And then there's a couple of changes to enhancements here. Blood Legion, the Slaughter Thirst, goes down 10 points to 25, which meant it was at 35, which I don't know what it did, but it certainly probably wasn't worth 35 points.
I believe it's the Aura of Lance. 6-inch Aura of Lance,
well, that is
actually very good, but
Blood Legion needs some help, so that's good.
Blood Legion needs help.
Shadow Legion.
Small nerfs to Shadow Legion. Fade to Darkness, the ever popular Fade Thirster, up 15. He's going to be okay. I'm still going to run this guy. Leaping Shadows is the Scout enhancement. That's also gone up 10 points. So, 25 points across the board on your Shadow Legion list, maybe like 30 if you took some Nurglings. Really not that bad, but it is a slap on the wrist.
Maybe you cut one of those enhancements and you just keep it the same.
Yeah, or you cut the Nurglings.
Yeah. Chaos Knights stay the same. Chaos Space Marines here. A couple little changes, and once again, no nerfs, which is surprising, because Chaos Space Marines are one of the winningest armies out there.
You know what? So our Blood
How have 10 Possessed not gone up?
Hey, it's fine. Fine, Seeks. It's been fine all edition. Chaos Lord with Jump Pack down 10. That is really nice. He was definitely a little bit overcosted, so I'm really glad to see that he is coming down a little bit. I think you might actually start to see him join to some Raptors. But Raptors still not that great, so maybe not. Dark Apostle down 10. I didn't think he needed to go down 10. I thought he was perfectly fine 75. I will not complain about this. This is awesome. Felgor Beastman down 15. Now, this is a data sheet that is never seen. It was very expensive for what it did, but it's actually not bad at 70 as like an alternate to Cultist or Guardsman that does like a turn 1 strategic reserve move. It's also got the Damned keyword, so in specifically Chaos Cult, it has a lot of really cool play. I like this change a lot. I might actually consider this unit now.
You're going to have to build and paint them.
Well, I guess that's a deal breaker. Then we've got the Master of Possession, who's 60 points, down 10. Another character who doesn't really do much, so coming down 10 is nice, but he has a lot of cool synergy with the way your detachments work. So in the new detachment, Cabal of Chaos, he is a Psyker, and he triggers pretty much all of your rules for you, and he's a great character to join to possess to give him some enhancements. He's +1 to advance and +1 to charge for whatever unit he joins. So if you play them in a possessed unit that has access to advance and charge, like in Bile or Renegade Raiders or Cabal of Chaos, you actually get to go very fast, which is pretty nice.
Yep.
Trader Enforcer down 10. That's, who cares? But, he's here. He's here for the thing. More importantly, the Disco Lord and Vashtor did not go up, and they got super buffed. So that's the stuff I'm really excited about.
Yes. Heading over to Dark Angels, you got the buff to the Lion. He remains the same points, and everything else is the same. So net positive for Dark Angels as certain things get worse around them. Death Guard, they get the Nurgling change here, but no additional points from their updated MFM. They are 2 new. However, their FAQ has 2 important changes.
Which we'll get to.
Death Watch, no changes here for the Death Watch. They've kind of just fallen out of the meta, like nobody is playing them, even though I think they are quite good.
Even though they won LVL, they're still not a faction. Somehow.
It's because they redid all the models that you could run into new configurations, so you have to paint like a new army to play them.
Do you think Death Watch is more of a faction than Imperial Agents?
It is, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. And they are part of Imperial Agents. They're the most popular part of Imperial Agents.
It's true.
Space Marines are always going to be the most popular part of an Imperium army if they have one.
Right.
Drukhari here. So some nice quality of life changes here. Mandrakes go back down a little bit to 65 points for 5. It's a nice change. Most lists are going to have 2 Mandrake units, so you're getting 10 points off right there. And then your Raiders and your Venoms are going to go down 5 points each. So 75 points for the Raider, 65 for the Venoms. Same thing, you're going to have some of those in most of your lists. So your list is probably gaining like 20 or so points. And then the Ravager comes down 10 points as well to 100. He's definitely overcosted. And
at 100, you think he's overcosted?
This thing does not shoot.
3 Dark Lances.
3 Dark Lances ain't what it used to be.
It's really not. This used to be the pinnacle of anti-tank firepower right here.
It is more competitive. I had run them at 110, and they're like okay, but it's so low volume of shots. There's a lot of invulns in the game, and it's paper thin in terms of defense. But these are nice quality life changes. I really would have liked to see the Beast Pack come back down personally, but overall, net positive for Drukhari, and the change to Reaper's Wager, which has become the most popular detachment to play, is pretty big.
Nice.
That's the biggest buff to them. Emperor's Children had a very good win rate. They were doing incredibly good things. Drum won the Streamhouse RTT. He's been doing some dominant things otherwise. And a big part of that was the Demon Prince of Slaanesh with the Wings is a crazy good data sheet. It goes up 20 points. It's still very good. I know I had asked John, I was like, so what do you think you might change? And the first thing he said is it's not the Demon Princes.
Yeah, and he went from, let me try Demon Princes to running 2 Demon Princes to running 3 Demon Princes. And I still think he's running 3 Demon Princes.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
I cannot actually believe they used to cost 180. That makes my soul hurt.
It was like the most defensive Demon Prince and the fastest and the one that hit the best.
And it had a random forward feeling of pain against mortal strat, so like you couldn't even grenade it well. I think at 200 it's getting closer to what it should cost, but I still think it's undercosted actually.
Probably.
Fulgrim came down, which is good because he's overcosted. So I'm glad that they're trying to do both sides to it.
Absolutely. So 20 points off on Mr. Fulgrim there, which is fantastic if you like him. Lucius the Eternal at 140. He was pretty darn cheap. One of the best loan ops in the game. He goes up 10 to 150. If you like him, you're still going to run him. This isn't changing that. Noise Marines, same thing. They were absolutely crazy at 135. They're at 145 now. Still very good. Still the mainstay shooting unit.
Yeah.
And then the enhancement from Coterie, the Pledge of Unholy Fortune, which I believe is flipping dice to a 6, changes to go to 30 points. Also,
so overall, like most Emperor's Children lists ran 3 in his Noise Marines, that's 30 points. Ran 2 to 3 Demon Princes, that's like 70 to 90 points. And Lucius makes it an even 100. Your Emperor's Children is going to go up in the neighborhood of 100 points. That's pretty solid. That's pretty significant. So I'm curious to see how people will adapt. But I think they needed it personally. EC was kind of crazy.
I really think a couple things in the Demon section should have gone down, personally, especially Shalaxi and the Keeper.
We're going to be paying for the sins of Legion of Excess for like the next 3 editions. Dude, Slaanesh Demons are not going to exist for a long time. And I'm sorry because I have a Demon army and I love them.
In addition, I think Flawless Blades could have used a little bit of a decrease.
I don't know why they
just don't have the volume of attacks. I think they could have come down much more so than Sanguinary Guard. Sanguinary Guard, they're the same. They're the same points as Sangguard.
Can we just get some quality checks on that?
GSC here, they only receive one change, which is to Jackals, which combos with their Resurgence points.
Yeah. This change is relatively meaningless unless you play Outlander Claw, which, you get like 10 to 15 points back in your Outlander Claw list. But largely speaking, this is not that significant.
Yep. But GSC kind of want to just hang in the shadows.
Yeah,
they don't want to be changed.
No one pay attention to us.
They're still running 100 Neophyte. Like, they don't...
No one mind what we're doing.
Don't look at what GSC is doing, is their motto. Grey Knights here. So last time, or the last couple times, they received points decreases to their MSU units, their 5-mans. Now they receive points decreases to their 10-man Terminator units, which really have fallen out of the meta. Warpbane has become the dominant style of Grey Knights. You got a lot of units across the table getting rerolls. That doesn't fit with 10-man Terminators, which are mostly seen in Teleport Strike Force. So they receive 20-point decreases here with the 10-man Brotherhood Terminator Squad and the Paladin Squad. These are huge. I personally love 10-man Terminator units. I like to see them go down. And then the Brotherhood Champion, who gives you Fight First in a Strike Squad, has gone down 10 points. His big problem is he's so niche. If he could take a jump pack and be in an Interceptor Squad, you would actually see him. But because he's stuck in a Strike Squad and you want Strike Squads to be cheap, he's just not seen that much. But 10 points off means there's more reason to think about him in Warpbane. So nice changes here for a Grey Knight playstyle that you typically don't see as much, which is the Teleport Strike right now. All right, so that's Grey Knights there. Imperial Agents, no changes.
Wait, let me see.
Is this an actual army? I don't know. Games Workshop. There's stuff you can do. There's stuff you can do.
There are rules here.
Look at some of these Inquisitors. Okay, Greyfax you never see. Codias you never see. Like,
can we just talk about the Assassins?
The Assassins are all still overcost in this detachment.
Can we bring the Assassins down, please? Especially in the new detachment, which makes you have to pay for overcosted Assassins.
They didn't even reduce those. Like, Veiled Blade Elimination Force has the worst enhancements in the game. They're all 40 and 35 points. What is 45 points? 45 points. And that didn't even go down 5 points. Nothing. Sanguinary Guard went down more than Imperial Agents.
I think generally this balanced Dataslate overall
is really good.
Why? Well, come on. Imperial Agents. Come on.
Not even a little bit of love. Not even an acknowledgement.
You're not like, there was one person in our Discord who was like, I think we'll get a token 5 points on this. And I was like, you're not getting anything. You're getting completely neglected.
Oh, boy. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you see, no green, no red, no thoughts. No thoughts given.
It was funnier last time when this went down, the Imperium section of the points. So, like, they acknowledged it as an army. But, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Imperial Knights, no changes here. They stay the same, and they like that because they're one of the highest win rates army in the game. Since the Armigers went down 10 each for them, they have become 56% plus win rate.
Knights are good now. No one is even talking about them.
People are talking about them.
Tournaments.
People are talking about them.
My client is dominating the meta. Adam Camilleri is dominating the Australian meta. Brian Jones won a GT.
When Adam Camilleri is dominating the meta, you know.
You know. What's going on down under?
Love you, Adam. All right, Index, Leagues of Votann. No changes here. They just got the change to how Corvs and Ecogs work with transports. Usually there's a token 5 points somewhere, and there definitely could have been. Some of these characters, like the Call, is still never seen. Uthar could have gone down 5 points and been totally fine, but ultimately Votann likes staying in the same position. They're kind of like GSC, where they're in the upper half of the armies, and they like staying there.
They're balanced, they're solid, nothing to complain there.
Necrons!
Okay.
Hold on.
How did this happen?
Nothing has happened.
Nothing has happened.
Let's go through.
Tell me what's happened.
Canoptic Doomstalker goes down 5 points. If you like, you're going to see a lot of these changes directed towards Canoptic Court, which has completely fallen out of the meta. It has just not been seen whatsoever, and it used to be the dominant way after the Codex release. So Doomstalker goes down 5. If you run 3 of them in Canoptic, you get 15 points there. Wraiths, you never see Wraiths anymore now.
No one runs Wraiths.
No one runs Wraiths.
Isn't running 12 Wraiths.
I've never been running Wraiths. So the 3-man goes down 5. The 10-man, or the 6-model unit, goes down 10. And then
20 points for playing Wraiths because they're bad. Yeah.
The Death Marks get a 5-point decrease, 10 for 10. You never see the 10-model unit. The 5-model unit now competes with Flayed Ones for your backfield unit. Illuminator Xeris goes down 10
Another
as well.
model you would just never see within the Necron army. The unkillable guy who stands back up, who's alone up. Yeah, let's make him cheaper.
Hey, that's all he does. He doesn't do damage, I'll tell you that. He stands around, though. Locust Destroyer, the solo one, continues to go up in points. Now it's 40 points, so it is competing with Scarabs directly now in terms of that choice. Plasmancer goes down 5 points.
Walter ran 3 of those.
No, that's the Psychomancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're getting too hyped. The Plasmancer was the one who gives out the little
Mortals?
grenade. Yeah.
Oh, you like that guy.
I did, but he went up a lot of points. Now he's come back down, so he's a lot more playable. Same thing, Immortals went down 5 points last upgrade, or the last update, so some interesting things you could do there. Scorpec Lord, he does get hit finally. He has gone up 10 points, and you're going to see his enhancement for Phenopain has gone up 15, so it is now 30 points. Okay. So that guy is quite a bit more expensive than he was previously. Technomancer, who I believe was one of the most overcosted characters here, does get a decrease by 5 points.
Okay, so the Wraith, Techno, Brick combined
goes
went
down 15.
Am I crazy, audience, listeners, viewers, beautiful people of the Art of War community? Am I crazy because I thought Wraiths and Technomancers were already on the too good side of the spectrum, and now they're going down, and now they're going on the way too good side of the spectrum? Am I crazy, Zeeks?
I don't think ultimately 30 points in a Necron list really matters. My list went up 30 points, not the last time, but the December update, and it just was, or no, it was the last time because the Doomsday Arcs went up. You're basically playing with whatever that last cheap unit is. So I don't think this actually matters for the list as a whole, but if they decrease anymore, it will become a big problem.
I think it's already a problem. Maybe not a big problem.
I don't think it's a big problem.
But like, this is not the right direction.
Let me play my Wraiths, okay?
You were going to get to. I can't stop you.
Yeah, don't you even think you can.
The only way I'm stopping you is by writing the schedule so that you're not playing Wraiths.
So really what happens here is that Star Shatter, my Star Shatter build, gets up a little bit, and then Awakened Dynasty comes down a little bit because your Scorpec Lords go up.
I think Canoptic also has play, because if you run like the 18 Wraith with 3 Technos and 3 Doomstalkers, you get back like 60 points just on that.
You get a decent amount of points back, so a little bit more play there. I still think Star Shatter is the best of them, but that's me.
Yeah.
So good update for Necrons overall, although Awaken gets a little bit of a nerf. Orcs here, so all sorts of changes. Let's go through them. Big mech with shock attack gun, he was still undercosted. He shot really hard. He loved being in tank bustas or some of the other units that you see in Tactical Brigade. So he goes up 10. The Boomdak Snazwagon, I have no idea what this model does. It's 70 points.
It snaz the wagon. It booms the DACA. What do you understand here?
I don't know if anybody in this house could actually tell you what a Boomdak Snazwagon, besides maybe Michael.
No, Michael can't tell you. our latest export doesn't know.
Boys go up 10 points for the 20 model unit. I'm not sure who was abusing 20 model units, but this is a nerf directly to Green Tide as a playstyle.
Right.
And if you were running 120 man in certain lists, then it's going up here. I don't know what that was targeting specifically, but it is what it is. Def Coptas go down. This is really important for Speed Freaks because it's the best model in Speed Freaks.
That's true. These love a fallback advanced shoot charge.
This is going to be, you're going to see a lot of Def Coptas in Speed Freaks if you play this attachment.
I like that.
Flash gets, the 10 model unit does go up 10 points. The 5-man stays really cheap. This matters mostly for Tactical Brigade, where you had the mech captain inside the unit and it shot super hard and it was very durable and it could heal back models and all that stuff. So gets a little bit of a decrease, 10 points here. The custom Boosta Blasta also goes down to 70 points.
Okay, I will say they buffed Speed Freaks enough by giving them advance in charge, and then they brought all of their models down. So maybe Speed Freaks is worth looking at again. I don't know. At 70 points,
Michael's going to have to put it on the table.
All of these things being cheaper has got to help, right?
It has to. I mean, it can't hurt. Ludas, the larger squad, goes up 15 points. I assume this is a holdover from more DACA, because I'm not seeing anybody run max Luda squad since that point. So I think this is just like a delayed... Just
Ripple
make sure.
Effect. Well, you know, I think Luda's at 100 for 10 models was just like stupid. So I'm good with it just going up as a blanket thing that Orks deal with.
Yeah. Rocket Truck Swig Buggy, as well as the Megatrack Scrapjet, as well as the Shock Jump Dragsta, all go down 5 points as well. The Swig Buggy is still pretty pricey, 95 points. Wow.
He's the indirect one. You pay for indirect.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. He's still indirect. Squighog Boys, these are models that are quite a solid unit. They have some
really
mortal
like
potential. It's a good skirmish unit, so it goes down 10 for the 4 model unit and 20 for the larger unit. The larger unit, you can see it in the Squig detachment, but it's a giant unit. It's really hard to hide.
The fact they are mounted models in an army that is mostly infantry based really hurts them because they compete for space with your trucks, and then they don't get to hide. They have to go around terrain. All the logistical factors of this unit really get in their way. So I think you still may not see them competitively. But
The 4-model unit is more interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Tank Busters, they go up only 5 more points at 140. I think this is probably where they'll ultimately remain. Between that and the Shock Attack guy going up 10 points, I think now that is much more reasonable a package for what you're getting.
225 for 6 Orks plus a character is not crazy. And then,
well, that shoots that hard.
That is not great defense per point, which balances the fact that it shoots crazy hard.
Yep. So I expect Tactical Brigade to just eat these changes and keep the Shock Attack gun Tank Buster combo. And then trucks, they've been cheap the whole edition. They finally went up.
65 was stupid.
Same thing with the Taurox. The Taurox at 75, the truck at 70. I think that they're fine now. They're in a good spot. And then Zodgrod, Wurtsnaga goes up 10 points. Him and his Grot gang were dominating some of the tables during the Mordak era. I know Michael liked running them in Tactical Brigade as well. So 10-point increase there. Ultimately, this means it's like a lot of Ork lists, especially in particular the Tactical Brigade style, goes up about 80 or so points. And then Warhorde really doesn't care, except maybe 120-man boys unit.
Really
so Warhorde likes this a lot. Tactical Brigade directly nerfed here.
I'm really excited and eager to see if Speed Freaks actually is good. Like, maybe 5 points here and there, independently not that good. Deathcopters coming down significantly does help. And then add advance and charge to your army. Like, fall back, advance, shoot, charge all the time. Always. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And those Deathcopters are going to certainly be a big role there.
Maybe the data sheets don't do anything. I'm not super word familiar.
I mean, MSU vehicle spam is a thing in the meta right now. You have Chaos Knights, Imperial Knights all over the place. So maybe it'll work.
Death Guard's doing it.
Death Guard are doing it for sure.
9 little Roombas driving around. Oh, yeah.
All right, Codex Space Marines here. Aggressors, which you basically haven't seen since the Crit 5's days. They've gone down 20 points for a 3-model unit. Only 20 for the 6-model unit because it receives more buffs.
Can we talk about how 3 Aggressors is 100, but 3 Sanguinary Guard is 110? I'm going to keep bringing it back to that.
It is crazy.
That is crazy. You know what? You're not going to see Aggressors because you're playing Blood Angels with Sanguinary Guard.
Well, Aggressors, if you are playing the Firestorm detachment, are way more interesting now, and I definitely could see running them in that one. The Captain with Jump Pack, I mentioned him previously. He was 85. He's now 75. He's the thing you put in the Sandguard when you don't have Dante to keep duplicating. So that's a really big change for Blood Angels.
Captain with Jump Pack at 75 is offensive. How is he less than the Chaos Space Marine version? Tell me. Can you tell me, Seeks?
I can't tell you.
You can't tell me.
I can't tell you. It bemuses me. Heavy Intercessor Squad goes down another 10 points. I feel like they always change the Heavy Intercessors. They want you to play these guys, and they're just a brick of...
3 wound, toughness 6, bodies at 100 points. There's nothing wrong with that. That is a good unit.
It is a good unit, and it gets +1 save. It's controlling an objective, I think.
It's always controlling it. It's like where you take this unit.
Hellblaster Squad goes down a little bit as well. I know some people have been talking about Hellblasters in the new Dark Angels Wrath of the Rock detachment, so we might end up seeing them fill a role there. And then Marnius Calgar, now he's not giving you guaranteed extra CP since he might not be the Warlord. He does go down 10 points. You can't the CP doesn't matter. He is just amazing.
Like, what is going on?
He by himself is like a tank unit.
Like him and his 2 Vitrix Guard and the way the rules interact, so Marnius somehow always has a 4 feeling of pain also. And then he went cheaper? He went cheaper?
He's just a beast.
And Gilliman got cheaper?
Gilliman got 25 points cheaper.
Oh my God.
It's because his CP only works
so this army is too good because it creates too much CP and its data sheets are too efficient. Let's decrease the CP efficiency to nerf it, but then decrease the cost to buff it. So that way it's still overpowered. Well, what a solution!
So Ultramarines, you might say like, hey, yeah, they don't have as much CP anymore, but they still have +1 wound. They still have double oath. The army's still going to be very, very strong.
And then Vanguard vets also significant points drops.
Huge decreases.
15 for the 5-man and 30 for the 10-man. Like the 5-man Vanguard vet with jump packs is your new skirmisher of choice in my mind.
The thing is, with Sanguinary Guard going down, they had to go down a decent amount to be even remotely competitive with them.
None of that needed to go down. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but...
So Vanguard vets are much more of a thought. So now between Death Company, Vanguard vets, and Sandguard, you have 3 very good options.
Why do they make Space Marines so good every single time, Siegs? Can you tell me?
Space Wolves, they have an index version to, I guess, for events that still have to play with the index, and then Codex Space Wolves finally gets their actual points. So a couple changes here. So a lot of things are getting their points for the first time.
This is
with their
relative
new data
to the
sheets.
back of the book, these ups and downs. So, we'll
Exactly. These are all brand new. So Arjak Rockfist comes in at 95. I know, a lot of players have been kind of enjoying their Space Wolf smashy characters, and
John's
Arjak.
talking about Arjak.
Yeah, Arjak is one of those. Bjorn, the Fell-Handed.
Very popular.
Great data sheet. He's in a lot of lists. He's at 170, which is perfectly reasonable for a relatively durable Dreadnought. Blood Claws at 135 is a little bit pricey for the 10 model unit, but not too bad. And then the 20 model unit, I haven't seen anybody running those yet, but 270 might be.
I have seen theoretical lists. Of
the spam list?
Blood Claws.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
I've not seen it on the table.
It's just like the list written on paper. Yeah.
Fenrisian Wolves popping in at 40 points for 5. It's a good little cheap skirmish unit. Grey Hunters at 180 for 10 models. Also on the pricier side, I think some people were expecting them to be a little less, but that is a unit with a lot of OC shenanigans.
There's a combo, which Jack and Michael went deep onto in our YouTube shorts about how Grey Hunters go up to 70 attacks and they murder everything. Definitely something to look into.
They can hit hard. Iron Priest at 60 points. Perfect. A lot of characters are going down to that 60 to 70 points category instead of that 70 to 80. We're seeing that across the game. Logan Grimnar at 110. He's awesome. Murder Fang 160. Najal is at 85. I think he's kind of been the one character who hasn't really been seen too much hype. Yeah, he's really, really cool. Ragnar Blackmane at 90 points. Thunderwolves. So 3 model units are 100 points. I know Michael loves the 3-man units, and we're seeing a lot of them in the new Space Wolf list. And then the 6 model units do get an increase to 220.
And they got a data sheet buff from their codex compared to the index. That +1 damage on the charge, that slams.
Didn't they have +1 damage on the charge?
I don't believe so. Oh,
Yeah,
maybe
that was
they
not the thing that changed.
Never mind.
That was not the thing that changed.
This is why we have Michael as the spaghetti guy. My saga has concluded.
They had. All right. Urlik the Slayer is 70 points. Vendred 140. Wolfguard Battle Leader at 65. Okay, the Head Takers. This is one of the units that is kind of been the most debated. It's at 85 for the 3-man unit with the Hunting Wolves, or the 3-man unit, and then the Hunting Wolves version is 110. Then the 6-man Just Head Takers is 170. Pretty interesting. I think we'll be seeing a decent amount of these in lists. Wolfguard Terminators at 170 and 340. Kind of fits with where all the Terminator units are. The Wolf Priest, he is going to be at 70 points. Wolfen themselves, this is going to be the version without Storm Shields, is 85 and then 170. And the Storm Shield version is 100, 200.
I know a lot of people are going hard in on the Wolfen.
I'm seeing a lot of 5-man with Storm Shield versions.
They're pretty cheap for what they give you.
I know Michael has a list that has an absolute ton of Wolfen.
Their weakness is that they have OC 0, but I tell you, when I play against them, I feel like they have OC.
If they just kill you.
If you're near a character like they got OC, it's just not hard to set up.
Yeah, if they're near a Space Wolf character. So I think we're going to see plenty of Wolfen. There's very much a 4-up invuln spam style army with all the Storm Shield units getting out there and being durable.
Oh yeah.
And then it looks like Thunderwolves Fortitude goes down a little bit at 25. Is the one change they made to detachment. So nice. Space Wolves finally get their points. Tau Empire here, there are some increases specifically to things that interact with the new army rule. So Stealth Battle Suits, the 3-man goes up 20 points to 80. So it is quite pricey now. It still does other things like the free rapid ingress, so I'm not too hurt about this. But maybe only see 2 of these units instead of 3 nowadays. Crute Carnivores, the 20 model unit goes up 10 points. Why?
Well, see,
why?
The Crute Carnivores, if you recall.
Who is losing to 20-man Crute units?
Me.
Okay, you are.
I did lose to 20 Crute. Remember that time that you were like, I'm going to run the Crute detachment into the Necrons, and then your 20-man Crute squad with a Shaper or whatever.
The Gland unit did wreck
The Gland unit killed my unkillable warrior Brit.
Then got a 5 of Phenopain, then killed the second unit. After
I am supposed to be immortal, and you're killing me with 20 Crute. Give them another 20 points on these Crute.
But who else was suffering from 20-man Crutes? I don't know why they want
to suffer. You know, they nerf you the way they nerf me. They nerf my cat combo. They nerf your Crute for killing my cat combo.
Luckily, the 10-man didn't change at all. Kalyan has their, through Unity Devastation, the lethal enhancement, and then Monkaw's coordinated exploitation, the sustained enhancement, both go up to 40 points. This is probably too much of an overcorrection, in my opinion, because you still have to spend the points on the character, then the enhancement, and then you get this buff. I think it's probably going to end up coming back down in the future. But those are the changes there. Thousand Sons, they already had their MFM for their codex, so no changes there. Tyranids, a couple changes. Hiveguard. I've never seen Hiveguard this edition.
Yeah, I haven't seen Hiveguard since like 8th.
Good change here. 10 points for the minimum unit and 20 for the max. The Hive Tyrant goes down 30 points because his CP manipulation changed from a player turn to battle round. So 30 points is a lot.
30 points is a lot of points. He's still a profile. He's still a monster. He still gets all that stuff.
He still gives you the lethals, and he lets you advance and shoot, which is huge for the army.
Yeah.
So great change there. 30 points. I think Tyranid players will be happy with that. Psychophage up 15 because...
got a redone data sheet.
He's a lot better. Overall, the Screamer Killer goes down 10, which is nice.
That is the right direction for the Screamer Killer. I really want to see these things at the table because I think they're so cool.
Swarmlord goes down 20 points. Makes him more competitive with the Hive Tyrant.
Yeah, definitely.
You definitely have been seeing him in Crusher Stampede lists, and I don't think that'll change with this update. And then the Wing Hive Tyrant also gets the same change.
170?
Very cheap.
That's very cheap. You know what else? This is a stealth buff to GSC because I can ally in a Winged Hive Tyrant.
Yeah. Can you put an enhancement on him?
You can put from the final day section.
That's relevant.
Yeah. There's one, I forget what it does, but it is relevant for the Hive Tyrant. It's like the Hive Tyrant's enhancement.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, maybe that'll open up some more final day shenanigans. And then World Eaters, they have a new codex. They did not receive any changes here. So that's the MFM. Broadly, very positive. A lot of armies that were in that kind of like 46 or below area got some changes to data sheets you will actually need to run.
The only things that have left me scratching my head are Blood Angels, like army-wide cheaper. I still am just viscerally angry about the Space Marine Guilliman and Calgar coming down. And then Wraiths. What the hell's going on with the Wraiths, man? I don't know.
Nobody's running them.
That's just not true.
I'm way ahead of my time.
All of the good Necron lists have Wraiths. All of them.
Who else is running Wraiths?
Walter's running Wraiths.
Oh, Walter switched to Wraiths?
Walter's been running Wraiths.
Oh, I convinced him. I'm taking credit for that, Walter.
Dude, there's Wraiths. Every good Necron list I see has Wraiths. So.
I don't think it'll ultimately, like I said, it's just what the cheap points come, but they don't need to go down anymore. Games Workshop, you don't need to reduce them 20 points next update like Sandguard, but if you do, I'm running them.
Okay, for the record, this is the Necron player telling you not to reduce them anymore, which means you've already reduced them too much.
They were fine before. I was still running them. I didn't care if my list didn't need to go down.
Fine. We're in agreement. We are so in agreement right now.
It did, but it's not impactful. It
could have even gone up.
What I'm saying is that it changes 30 points is not impactful enough.
Yeah, I get your point. Like Necron.
If I got 100 points, sure.
If you got 100 points, we'd have some problems.
Then I'd be playing Blood Angels.
Well, we have different problems.
Yeah, I think Blood Angels is the one that's the head scratcher. Yes, their win rate was low, but they didn't need their best. A lot of the things around the outskirts, 100% needed to go down, but I don't think Sandguard needed a 20-point decrease. That's
I love the Sisters changes. Even though I'm an Eldar player, I'm generally happy with the Eldar changes. I think there were parts of Eldar that were way overtuned, like Ynnari. Fire Dragons could have gone up 10. Other things coming down is nice. And a lot of armies that were like solid, Votann, GSC, for example, they didn't get changes, and I think that's solid.
Yeah, I think overall, a lot of the meta was in a really good place, and they didn't need very much, but I am of the opinion that you can only reduce points so much. I really like the direction of changing certain data sheets completely.
Because you can always keep going down until a unit is playable, and then it's probably spammable because you pay for a profile.
It's bodies. It just takes up space.
It is a unit. So you can always price something cheap enough, but that's not like what the unit should be trying to do. Just be a hoardy cheap unit.
Yeah, like a Disco Lord should be an epic killer,
right?
And he is now.
And I like that. I think that's buffing rules instead of decreasing points is a great thing to start doing, and I love that they're doing that.
So I hope that stays consistent. They've done it in the past. I think they'll continue to do it. I think Games Workshop did a really good job here between the balanced Dataslate and MFM. And let's head over to something that's quite impactful, which is Death Guard didn't get any points increases. They will come, Death Guard players, but two changes that are very impactful here. First is that their Death Shroud Terminators, which previously could rapid ingress off of their rule for 6 inches off an afflicted unit, it's only their movement phase, which fits with the game-wide changes that happened in December, which is massive. 6-inch rapid ingress was broken. Games Workshop knew it.
Everyone knows
It's changed. Everybody knows it.
I'm so happy
is
this has
huge.
changed. I'm really sad it wasn't already changed. Like, I feel like this should be a day of, like, we just play it this way type thing. But 2-3 weeks have gone by. Death Guard have been 6-inch deep striking, rapiding all over people. And now those dark days are over.
Yep. So they'll still 6-inch deep strike, but not rapid. Rapid was the egregious part. So Death Shroud's still very good. It's just not as quite as egregious. And then the Plague Burst Crawler, there's a big question about how many mortals you keep taking based on its ability if you get hit by it, since it doesn't disappear. And Games Workshop is like, it doesn't stay on you.
The way it technically works in the Codex rules written is that once you're affected by the spores from the Plague Burst Crawler, you're affected all game, which means you're just rolling 5-ups all game long to see if you take damage.
Which was obviously ludicrous and
That's
silly.
silly, yeah.
So they put a kibosh on that, which is perfectly reasonable. So we'll still see Plague Burst Crawlers because it's a solid indirect tank, although expensive, but it's not going to be as ludicrous as previous.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, we've got brand new data sheets for the new Kill Team Typhon.
This is the hyper-adapted Raveners, which synergize beautifully with our new Tyranid detachment, the Subterranean Assault.
Absolutely. So you want to bust into these bad boys, Mr. Nick?
Yeah, okay, so then you know the old Ravener data sheet that didn't have the Burrower keyword?
It's right up here.
Throw that out.
Ha ha.
We're not taking those. We are instead taking these. These move 10. They're toughness 5. They're 4 armor. One of them is the Ravener Prime, who has 6 wounds. The rest are just the regular Raveners with 3 wounds. I don't know why there's a random Ravener character in here, but that's cool.
He looks epic, though.
He does look epic. So they have the Venom Bolt, which is... They all get the Venom Bolt?
Let's find out. It's down here. Venom Bolt.
Yeah, so one Ravener is equivalent to Venom Bolt.
Yeah.
So that's not so bad. Okay, one Ravener gets like this pretty solid flamer, d6 plus 3 shots, 6/1/1. More importantly, all the Raveners have the heavy claws and talons, which are anti-monster vehicle 5-up and twin links. So we're doing damage with these things into all profiles. They are 3 attack feats at strength 5, AP 2 damage. So they can really actually destroy just about anything. Then we've got the Prime, who has got the same anti-vehicle monster 5-up, but he is 6 attacks at 5/2. So your little 5-man hyper-adapted Ravener unit, which is 4 regular Raveners and a Ravener Prime, pump out 18 attacks at 5/2, twin-linked against everybody, and then their anti-monster, anti-vehicle 5-up, which is a beautiful rule with the twin-linked. Beyond that, they get sustained hits, just
all the time.
just plus 1 hit functionally. And then they have the Hypersensory Array. Once per battle round, you can target this unit with a Rapid Ingress or Heroic Stratagem for 0 CP, and even if you've already done so.
That's huge.
That's crazy.
That is huge.
So there's like units...
Usually these have the first part, but not the second one, which lets you do it if you've already done it.
Usually it's tied to 1 strat, not 2. It's like you can Rapid for free, or you can Heroic for free, and those are good. And then you can do it even if you've already done it this phase, but those tied to 1 strat. The fact that you can Rapid 3 times with this, 4 times total, like Rapid a Trigon, then Rapid 3 Raveners.
Yeah, because it's not once per battle round for a unit with this ability. It's once per battle round.
This is just really good. Also, let's take a look at their keywords. Vanguard Invader and Burrowers. That makes them amazing in Subterranean Assault or Vanguard Onslaught. Amazing unit. Multiple times over. This unit's fantastic.
If you don't know what Subterranean Assault is the new Tyranids detachment. You can check out a review of it in the
just on the channel,
on the YouTube channel.
It's right here.
Other important things to note here is that they have the Vanguard Invader keyword as well, which helps them in the Vanguard detachment, and they have that Burrow keyword, which you need for Subterranean Assault. So really good. They're going to be 165.
So slightly pricey. I mean, they're 33 points a model, which ain't cheap, but I think this unit is
a lot of utility
changer.
here.
There's a lot of good stuff going on with this, and they have the 4-up armor save, which is nice.
Yep. All right, heading over, we have another new data sheet, which is the other side of the coin, and we go from a very elite Ravener unit to the cheapest boys that ever existed over here. So this is a unit of Servitors, and they have a Servitor Underseer. So this is brand new for AdMech. Servitors are finally back, which is exciting. And they have a variety of weapons, some decent ones like a heavy arc rifle. They have a heavy bolter. They can have some strength 3 flamers. They can have a melt-a-gun, some phosphor blasters. Overall, it's not really a damage unit, but they can chip some wounds away. What they really do is that they have network override. While the unit contains 1 or more Tech Priest models, this unit is eligible to perform an action in a turn in which it advanced. This is very rare in the game. And then eligible to shoot in a turn in which it started an action. So if you advance due to the action, you'll be able to do the action, or you can decide to, if you're doing an action, shoot. So if you're like starting there and you're going to do a cleanse, you could just shoot as well and clear out some things. So 60 points for this unit.
60 points for 9 bodies with OC is very good.
It is...
That's a great going rate.
It is not... and then the Underseer has the Tech Priest keyword, in case you were wondering. You can join a Tech Priest to the unit as well, but the Underseer has the keyword, so he by himself just lets you do the rule. So you don't have to spend additional points to do it. And this comes with 6 combat servitors, 2 of the gun servitors, and the Underseer. So just 9 models for 60 points.
They can technically do damage. But no.
Technically, but they're not really there for
that.
Now, they're not battle line, which is what I was going to be wondering about, is they could have been battle line for the Cult Mechanicus detachment to really help them so you don't have to run Skitarii, but they didn't give them battle line, which at 60 points, yeah, that's fine. But 60-point bodies, man, I need to get some of these.
Yeah.
So I will
like 7 points a wound or something.
Exactly, right? And it's a great big screen, and it's cool. New models for AdMech, yay! So I'm pretty hyped on this. I think this is at 60 points, it's stellar.
And then finally, we got one more thing to go over.
One more thing, which is
the tournament companion.
Let me go up to the top of this. So if you're new to 40k or new to playing match play, there's something called this tournament companion. There was one for Pariah Nexus, and in this, it has all of the general rules of how to play match play, how to set up events for tournaments. In addition to that, it has the combinations for missions and the terrain formats. It has all of the terrain layouts, and even more for the very first time, and you're wondering why is this 52 pages, it's because they have added a basing guide for Warhammer 40k for the very first time. So Sigmar, I believe, already had it, and some of the other games. They've added it for 40k. So if you're ever wondering, what the heck does this model from, created 10 years ago, what base is it supposed to be on? I don't know anymore.
And
it tells you.
If you're wondering where to find it, you can check out the Warhammer community website. You can just go to the download section. You'll find the Tournament Companion, the 40k zone. And this is some bread and butter for competitive play.
Yep.
It breaks down the different missions, kind of the pregame tournament steps.
How to draw cards, how to discard cards, how to get CP off of that, how to score points, how to do actions, all the key things that you want to do. The big balance change that they did here is that no prisoners can't be fixed. That was one of our big concerns in the chapter approved review, is we didn't want you to get bring it down and no priz is fixed, or assassinate and no priz.
This would have single-handedly destroyed my GSC army if this was fixed.
Yeah, besides my wraiths.
Why did the rates go down?
This is a really good quality of life change for Games Workshop. They have some other questions and answers in here, but the other thing is right here. You can see this is the tournament pool. So there's no more mission rules. The twists are not in match play at all, but these are the combinations that we're going to see in the tournaments going forward, and Nick is going to be doing a mission series in the War Room for each and every one of these.
That's right. Every single time they redo these missions, I go through and break them down in the War Room. It's one of our most popular content pieces. People love them. It's applicable to everybody at all skill levels, and it's just generally good Warhammer information. So again, if you want to get more information about Warhammer, learn the game, become your best, check out thewarroom.vhx.tv in the description below. You get a 3-day free trial of all of our wonderful content, including this upcoming mission series.
Absolutely. We'd love to see you there joining us. And you'll notice no unexploded ordnance. It did not make the cut this time. It is gone.
There's finally got rid of it.
There's 2 Dawn of Wars and 2 sweeping engagements, but for the most part, tournaments are going to sit from A to P.
I still see Supply Drop, Terraform, Purgifo.
They are better.
They're better.
They are better in this update, which is very nice.
Richard and John went back a couple weeks ago and broke down all the new missions in detail, so if you haven't caught that video, definitely watch that as well.
And then Quentin and Brian Jones did an update on this. However, the one thing I want to point out is that for the changes for layout 7, you can see that against this terrain piece with the U-shape, it used to be up against the wall. And then for your home ruin, it is now much more protected, which means if you play this on Search and Destroy or something, your backfield isn't just completely open.
Yeah, but more importantly, the fact that you can get around that side on that midfield ruin there, that's really big because it doesn't just basically cut off the table on both sides there.
Yeah, what you had was people stringing out this way and here and blocking it so you couldn't move past it. Mm-hmm. And now there's a kind of a similar firing lane, but there's no piece right here blocking it. So a bit more interaction there. And then for 8, it used to have like a
weird
kind
diamond.
Diamond shape with the small pieces. Instead, they're flat.
Yeah, which I think makes the angles a little bit much better for staging.
Yep, there's no angles straight down this way. There is one this way now, but I think they did some good changes to layout 7 and 8. And then finally, we're not going to go through the basing guide here, but just to show you, there is a giant basing guide at the end of this, which is going to be very important, especially for newer players, to making sure you're putting your models on the right sizes.
I just want to see what it looks like. Oh, literally, just
Literally,
with
here's
base
the
sizes,
units
yeah.
listed, and there's the base size that they're supposed to be on, or the hull if they don't
Rest
have
in
base.
peace, soul grinders and defilers. You may.
Oh, they got
never be
bases?
again. Oh, they got the fantasy Sigmar bases that are small pizza plates that literally don't go on.
Dune
terrain.
crawler life.
I think it's worse than.
Oh, it's the bigger. It's
bigger.
the great unclean one.
It's bigger than the Great Unclean one. It is the largest base that exists in 40k. It is actually.
Okay, can we just go to that so that we can?
Yeah. Let's go to Demons, and I want to compare the Great Unclean one base size to the Soul Grinder.
Yeah,
Just
Demons.
past it. So here we have the
Great
Great Unclean one.
130
Okay.
and Soul Grinder
Soul Grinder is
right there.
160.
60. I didn't even know they made bases
Yeah,
that big.
it's big and it's bad.
That's significant.
It's you know the rule.
Can you fit?
Like, so there's a rule that says you can deep strike wholly within 6 inches of Bellicor for shadows. Just be 6 inches away from the enemy. That base is larger than 6 inches. You literally can't do it. It's a problem.
Solid.
It's a big problem. It's a big base, big problem.
Is that the Towner base size then?
It might be. It's huge. It is. You are never going to see a Soul Grinder on the table.
Oh, it's the
again.
Tiger Shark base size. Okay, cool.
Jesus Christ. That thing's a flyer and it's hard to move.
It's a mega flyer, not just a flyer. All right, so that is going to be our synopsis of all these different rules. Like we said, we went through all 3 of the new detachments already on the YouTube channel. Check out those videos. And then coming up after this one at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we're going to have the new Tau Empire Army rule updated, playing against Mr. Nick Nanavati's Cabal of Chaos.
The brand new CSM detachment.
So that's exciting. And then after that, we're going to have the post-game recap. You're going to be able to watch it here on YouTube. And if you like that kind of short-form battle report recap as well as analysis of what we could have done better, guess what? We do one for every single game in the War Room. All 3 battle reports every week get one. So if you like the format, we've been doing it. We're continuing to put a lot of editing into our videos if you haven't checked them out in a while. So highly recommend it. Head over to thewarroom.vhx.tv for that 3-day free trial to check it out. If you are joining us here, we're about to go into the super chats and start answering your questions, but please do give us a like. There's a lot of people joining us. We really appreciate that support. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about us. All of that massively helps us grow. In addition, leave a comment below letting us know what you think of the new update, what you're most excited to put on the table, and how you're feeling about your different armies. We love to read your comments.
All right, Seeks, let's get into these super chats.
Let's do this. So,
quite a few.
we've got Nami Nom. Thanks so much for joining at the War Room Gold. We really appreciate your support, and thanks so much for joining our community. Join us in the Discord where we have all of our community activities. And I didn't mention it, but our TTS League will be announced very soon, starting with all the new rules, all the new missions. So look forward to that in the Discord. I'll be announcing that for everybody very soon.
That's awesome.
All right, Mr. Ryan G, $5 super chat. Nick looks like he's slowly morphing into Mr. T. Does he pity the fool?
I do pity the fool. I pity the fool that thinks the rates that went down in points are fine. I pity the fool that has to play against Blood Angels. It's not good out there.
I think we have to make it you.
Oh, no.
We have to make it Mr. T.
Oh, man.
Mr. T first.
I could do a whole stream like that.
We've got Lyra. Thanks so much for your $5 super chat. Snake bugs, snake bugs, snake bugs, snake bugs. Indeed. This is the best time to ever play snake bugs.
Oh my god. Trigons, Raveners, Moloch, Sean. I did a whole breakdown on that brand new subterranean assault attachment. Snake bugs en route, inbound, burrowing up from underground and going to eat everybody.
Yeah,
It's a great
once we
time
get
to be
those new models, we will be putting it on the table for you to enjoy. We've got Timo. Thanks so much for your €2 super chat. Our 160mm base Soul Grinder is still playable.
I genuinely don't think so. I have 3 Soul Grinders. I really want to use my Soul.
You have
Soul
used
Grinders.
them.
I have. And at 160mm base, I just literally think the logistics of Warhammer will defeat the whole Soul Grinder, which is sad.
Being able to move
forget your
past
opponent, forget matchups and all that stuff. Just terrain will beat your Soul Grinder.
I like that.
I don't.
I like when terrain wins me games. Alistair C, £5 super chat. Thank you so much. Get Nick some caffeine. The man is only at 8 out of 10 on the energy output. Needs topping back up to his usual 11 out of 10.
You know what? You're right. Alcidar, you're right. I need more energy, need more caffeine. I've been drinking my caffeine all morning, but we need more.
It's Nick hype.
You got to get that hype in there. Throw those super chats down there. Subscribe to the channel, folks.
If you like Nick and I, we're going to be here all day because we're in the game, we're in the
play some
post game.
Warhammer.
We're going to be having a
Talk
great
about the
time.
Warhammer. It's going to be so good. It's what we do here.
I'm too random. Thanks so much for your 5 Canadian super chat. Do we think this cut is enough to put Black Templars back in the game? My lists are down 30 to 100 points, which isn't nothing. No, that's very significant for a balance update. I know Jack has been really enjoying his Gladius version. that going down between the characters and the Sword Brethren is quite impactful, I would say. Those are the key units, and getting either upgrading several units to better ones or getting a whole new piece in your list is very significant. I think it's a very nice change for Black Templars. I don't know if you're going to see the Crusader spam, but it's closer to being able to, seeing multiple of those Crusader units.
Yeah, thank you so much for your support. And we got Ricky Chow with a $10 super chat. I miss these live interactions. I love you guys, especially that low cut Nick is serving. I love that army painter, and it's my favorite hobby company.
Heck yeah.
We love you, Ricky Chow. We can't do this without you. Thank you so much for all your support.
We really do appreciate it.
We'll try to get some more live streams back on the menu. We're trying to put more emphasis on the production quality side of things, which is a response to all the feedback we've gotten from all of your wonderful YouTube comments and chat interactions. And you can see through our edited content that we are making progress on there. But I don't want to forget the live streams, the live interactions.
Yeah, and speaking of which, tomorrow, Mr. Jack and Michael are both going to be doing a live stream at 10 a.m. Eastern on Thursday, which is going to talk about big winners, and potential losers of the balanced Dataslate, and kind of how they're feeling about the meta overall, get a whole day to digest everything and understand what's going to be changing. And then next week, we are going to have that faction tier list. So if you're a big fan of our faction tier list, kind of breaking down where we think the meta is going to go right after balanced Dataslate, check that out. Tune in next week.
Awesome. So then we've got Will Brogan with a $5 super chat. Do you think GW will change Fulgrim similar to the way they did for the Lion? What could they change to make him playable?
So he's a very selfish Primarch in that he doesn't have many ways to buff the army. One of the ways they could do it is to have, the Lion also was relatively selfish previously, and now he has a reroll 1-stat 1 wound aura. Maybe just one of his aura abilities should help the army, Emperor's Children, for certain data sheets. That could be a change. One of the other big things is that it can be a little difficult for him to maneuver terrain. Because of his large base size. One thing they could do is potentially allow him to speed through walls or ignore certain walls. That would also be a significant buff.
Fulgrim is also one of those characters where I think he could benefit from the Mortarion treatment, where they just make him really cheap because they want you to take the Primarch. And I think because he doesn't...
This is index Mortarion.
Yeah, Index Mortarion, not the way they used to handle
the old version, yeah.
But because he's selfish by nature and he doesn't buff your army, I don't know that he should by a lore standpoint. But if he's not going to buff your army, he better just be a great beatstick. And to be a great beatstick, he's got to be cheaper.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's the one that most benefits from going down because then he's really a solo piece.
He's his own unit. He's not trying to be an army synergistic guy.
Absolutely. And then letters from Lynx. Thanks so much for your super chat. Are hyper-adapted Raveners useful in GSC Final Day?
They are. I'm super excited.
What keyword lets you take things?
Vanguard. They are Vanguard.
That's also Vanguard
That's
Invader?
also Vanguard
Wow.
Invader. Yeah, no, I really
That's huge.
The Tyrant came down. The Raveners now exist as a Tyranid data sheet or a Final Day data sheet. I'm very eager to get some GSC back on the table.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, looks like those are all the super chats. So thank you so much for your questions here. We really appreciate it. If you are joining us, once again, give us that like, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about us. We've got tons more content coming up today with that game coming up in just about a half hour. Tau versus Chaos Space Marines, the post game after that. And then tomorrow's live stream will also focus on kind of the ramifications.
Let's talk about where
all the changes.
Yeah.
In the War Room, we got State of the Factions for every army coming out. Today's with Space Marine, tomorrow is Tau, and there's plenty more on top of that. So this is the best time to join our community. Come on in, come hang out with us, and we'd love to see you there.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching, everybody. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. We can't do this content without you, and we'll see you in just a little bit for another wonderful stream where we play some more Warhammer.
Thanks so much. See you all next time. Hope you're as excited as we are.